Hey guys, it's John, and welcome back to The Letter. Before we get started with the new chapter, we are actually going to go back to the final decision of Zachary's chapter, and we are not going to pick Enter the Open Window this time, because that gets Zach killed. We are going to choose Keep Looking for Ash instead. But before we get into it, I want to comment on a couple things and pose a question. I've gotten an overwhelming number of comments this series asking things like, this is a horror visual novel, so where's the horror? Why isn't it scary? They're talking about their favorite food. Where's all the scary parts? And I've gotten a lot of comments that said, well, it's because John's keeping everybody alive. Nobody's really in a bad place at this point in the game, except for, I mean, Hannah's possessed, but from what I understand, she could be dead, which would be worse. Isabella could be dead, etc. And I'm keeping them alive. So everything's relatively in high spirits. However, after Zach died in the last video, I did get an overwhelming number of comments again on that video saying, go back and save him. Go back and let him live. Even though I think having him dead will result in a more horrific experience moving forward. So basically what I'm wanting to know is, in the future, if a character dies, do you guys want me to go back and save them every time? Try to keep everybody alive and have like as good of an ending as possible? Or is it just a special Zach thing because I admit he is the most likable character in the game so far? You know, if in the future, if Becca or Ash die, do you want me to just leave it? Or go back and save them too? Basically, I want to know what I'm in for. For my personal opinion, you know, I felt guilty about Zach dying, but I wouldn't normally go back and change it because I don't like changing my initial choices in this game. It really waters down the experience for me, and it takes the weight off of the choices. I like the choices to be weighty. I like to look at a choice like this and be like, whatever I pick, that's final. There's no point to a choose your own adventure game, in my opinion, if you decide that you don't like a choice and you go back and just pick another one and you choose whichever one gives the best possible outcome. Because then it just turns into a video game. You're just gaming it to get the highest possible score, if you will. And what I like about this type of experience is that it's immersive. And part of that immersion is that whatever choice you pick, you're stuck with. Now I know that I did change one of the choices in the last video as well, with Hannah not showing her the pictures, but you know, it's one of those things where, like, if I was actually in the situation, I probably wouldn't have showed them to her. But I was trying to pick more interesting choices, and I was hoping that it would be more interesting than, oh, you photoshopped those. And that didn't turn out to be the case. So I went back and I changed that one. And that's the same reason why I picked Enter the Open Window, because I thought it was the more interesting choice. I'm trying to make things like more interesting for this series, because I don't want to stand around and talk about how Isabella eats instant noodles again. I can't take it. So anyway, we're gonna get started now. Keep looking for Ash. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out. The half that has spent too much time around Ash. It's right though, the reasonable part. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant, how am I going to fight back? With my camera? No matter where you look at it, that's simply asking for a painful death.
I have a better chance if I find Ash. What is he snooping about?
Am I recording? Okay. Okay, just real quick. I did record this, like the first couple sentences of this choice, and I got an achievement there. I can't remember what it was called, but then I wasn't recording. So I had to start over. Anyway. Perhaps I should try the forest, make a round farther into the gardens. Not a sound plan, but it's better than nothing. The woman's soft sobs have subsided now by some means, almost inaudible to the point where I'm wondering if I truly heard what I heard. I didn't get to dwell much on it, though, because right at that moment, my phone rings, the sharp notes cutting, piercing through the thick quietude. Not sure I agree with that sentence. I clamp a hand over it, pressing the button before the speakers are close to my ear.
What part are you?
I only caught the tail end of the person's greeting on the other side, but I know the voice well enough.
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now.
I've been calling you for 20 minutes. I've been calling you for like a day.
What kind of shithole did you get into?
I hate Ash.
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you.
I noticed that Ash gets defended sometimes in the comments. I don't understand it. Would you let someone talk to you this way? Don't let people talk to you that way. Just don't do it. Don't let someone be disrespectful towards you like that.
I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even... No, wait. Just get your ass here at Isabella's place, and hurry.
I shift my gaze into the mansion, specifically at the window I heard the cries from. There is nothing of it now, not even echoes.
How urgent is this?
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here.
Again, disrespectful little shit.
Please, Zach.
That gives me pause. It's a rare thing for him to take on that tone.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two, tops.
You mean for him to say the word please? I can see that.
Thanks. I'll see you.
I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. Without another look, I leave the mansion along with its haunting melodies and grim echoes behind. There are more important things than my own curiosity and impulses. Okay, so we're in Marianne's chapter now. Hang on. These journal entries drive me nuts. Okay. So yeah, why do I keep clicking on that? Oh, let's read her profile. Right. So, Marianne. So she's 5'11". Damn, she's tall. Let's see. Roman Catholic, Bachelor of Arts in Architecture. She likes chocolate. Wow, big surprise. Cats, classical arts, country music, karaoke. I hate all these things. Board games, video games, anime, and other obscure pop culture items. Yoga. I'm on board with the board games and the video games. Everything else I think I could do without. Left in a dumpster as a baby. She was found by a peddler and spent most of her childhood roaming the countryside in a beat-up van. Her father taught her how to read, write, and pray. Though an unconventional life, it was all she knew. Child welfare and protection eventually caught on and required that she have a proper education. She was provided a scholarship at St. Samthan School for Young Ladies and was bullied for being a charity kid. Marianne only had one friend and was mostly focused on her studies, intent on graduating and returning to her father. A shame that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's soon after. Sorry, it's not Alzheimer's isn't funny, but the phrasing. A shame that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Her work as an architect in Ireland lasted until the Irish economic crisis. She moved to England and after some time, Luxburn in search of better career opportunities. Left in a dumpster as a baby. Wow. Okay, so 7:15 p.m. Let's get it. The numbers are so little on the top of my screen, and they glare at me with such intensity that I can just hear their accusations. I'm late for a night out with the girls, yes, but I have a perfectly good excuse. Jeez! Considering I didn't follow typical office hours, they really don't expect me to be able to just go as I please at 5:30 on the dot. The client is, first and foremost, my priority. I have to sit tight with my personal assistant, Chris. Tells me we have a big one coming up, and that I shouldn't miss this one. He knows a lot more on the who's who and the what's what when it comes to these socialites than I trust that judgment call. I really don't have time for rich people, their drama, and their politics. These sort who were born with silver spoons in their mouths, who were used to wagging their silver tongues about. I let him handle the negotiating with them for the most part. Why else would I have hired him? But he told me I received a message about it an hour ago.
Now, if only he has the full shilling when it comes to the time.
Come on, I have a social life too, you know. To an extent. Sort of. Pressing my head against the table, I try to stave off an oncoming headache when the notification for a new email pops up. That's your new email notification? all I'm expecting is a, hey, this looks like a good project I found. Go send them a design. Or something like that, really. That's how it often goes. Even with these rich, jammy clients who've heard of me from their equally rich, jammy friends, I can't expect them to hire me right off the bat. Jammy? Do they wear pajamas? Which is all well and good and reasonable. We figure out what they want, send them my portfolio, my drafts for their projects, my rates, and hope for the best. This is a big client, Marianne. I'll babysit Baruthiel for you. Just please take this one project. I promise this person is huge in Luxburn. Okay. Mr. Parker, this is a formal request to secure the services of Marianne McCulloch, hereinafter called the Designer. Ooh, it's like a contract. As authorized by Hannah Wright, hereinafter called the Client, for interior design work at Ermengarde Mansion, Luxburn, LX180RF, United Kingdom. Yeah, foreign zip codes look so different than here. Well, we call them zip codes here in the US. I think they're called postal codes elsewhere, but the Client hopes to have the designer there on 21st October, Friday, with the time pending. But as I open the mail and see that I've been requested by the Client specifically, well, I certainly didn't expect that, and it's pretty straightforward too. Anyone else would probably be excited. They'd be working with the Hannah Wright. She's just one of those rich socialites that everyone loves to talk about, no matter how hard I try to tune such nonsense out. It would have been enough for me to reply an affirmative to Chris and Lee, but he has never pleaded for me to take a project before. We've worked with big personalities in the past, celebrities, bankers, and even a few politicians. My PA had been indifferent about those. So the question bounced about my skull before I spy one of the email attachments. A newspaper clipping from the Luxburn Daily's business news section boasting the headline, Wright Enterprise donates £2.5 million to Refuge. It certainly caused quite a stir back then. Interesting. Help keep the safe house in Luxburn open for several years. With this money, Refuge can keep helping women, children, and victims of domestic violence. Or sorry, dosmetic violence. There are rumors as well of the charity talking with the couple and looking into building a local center equivalent to their Gaia and Athena locations. These rumors have come to us due to one of the Enterprise's employees mentioning a Project EOS. Apparently, they had invited businessmen and socialites everywhere in the guise of it being some big business announcement.
$2.5 million and an expensive-looking party to boot. These people sure know how to throw their money around.
Not that I should be so callous. They're going to do a lot of good and help a community of people with all those pounds. I, of all people, shouldn't criticize such acts, whether they were for show or not. At the very least, I know they'll be able to pay my rates. With the headline out of the way, however, I find myself staring at the picture that came along with the clipping. Because, wow. Here I am expecting a sour old woman in a blazer and skirt, but the woman that was plastered on the front page looks like she belonged on the front page of the entertainment section, or even, if I am to be crass, as the pinup for a glamour, okay, I'll be real here, a men's magazine. She sure knows how to rock that dress. Wait, her hair, her eyes, her lips. She can't be her. At the same time, she is her, only several years older. She looks just like... No, come on, Mac. The world is full of pretty blondes. It's just a coincidence. With a shake of my head, I snap out of it and reach for my phone when it buzzes, nearly falling off my chair in the process. Who else would be on the other line but the very people waiting for me?
Oh, piss. I'm so sorry, Cam. I'm on my way.
That's what I say. Yeah, I still don't move from my chair, face flushed and heart racing. I can only stare until I can will myself to reply that yes, I'm accepting the assignment. And it takes even more time for me to just close the image, shut down the computer, and leave. Even then, it has already burned its image into my head, no matter how much I wish it would just disappear. It makes me eager for the alcohol in the company. It makes me eager for anything that can help me forget. It's a good thing that the nearest pub is just a hop, skip, and a jump from here. The Galway Shawl, as is called by those who frequented the place, is the only decent Irish pub in this country. Can I just say, I've never been to a pub/bar that's this empty. I'll go like, you know, in the late afternoon, people are still at work. Never this empty. It's always packed everywhere I go. You can pretty much tell that someone is new if they call it by its official name, The Crawl Bar. My home away from home ever since I moved to Luxburn. Well, that is when I'm not cooped up in my condo and working anyway. It has good alcohol, good company, and thank God in St. Cecilia, good music. Crowd favorites like the Bothy Noise, the High Wesleyan Men, and Second Fusion Orchestra are often played. Can't say I'm familiar with those. Not to mention the singing. I love singing. Anyone could just break out into a drinking song, and the others in the pub were just wonderful that they'd start singing along. And doing so while intoxicated is the best of ways to go about it. Hey, it's a win-win as long as I don't puke in the middle of the chorus, and as long as I can get home in one piece at the end of the day. And tonight is karaoke night. What better time than to try and sing all my worries away? That's what my intoxicated brain tells me.
The ghost of guilt and sorrow remembers who I am, and in the prison of my heart, I was my only slave.
Okay. But drinking only reminds me of my home, and the thought of home makes me think of her.
But in the depths of my cold soul, I'll leave the burden and despair.
Please don't tell me this is gonna be like like a thing. It makes me nauseous. It sickens me that the smallest reminder of her can cause me such grief.
I'll fight for what's worth fighting for. Forget the fear, forget the rest.
What song is this? Of course, that might just be the booze. Any other day, I would have scolded myself for drinking so much.
I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell.
But I already have a client, and we'll be having our first little meet and greet in a few days.
Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you.
Don't quit your day job, Marianne.
'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true.
I want to at least enjoy this night, get over the hangover tomorrow, and return to being a prim and proper professional after. Oh, thank God we're over it.
That song was for Cam, our lucky bride-to-be. So give her hand, Galway shawl.
Marianne. We're not off to a good start with your chapter. Considering the state I'm in. For moi? Who are all these people cheering? There's 3 of them. Considering the state I'm in, one can excuse my smug grin as cheers and applause rise from the pub's patrons. Because, possibly off-key public singing aside, I feel like I'm on top of the world right now, and that's a good reason as any to belt out in front of these strangers. With good drinks and good friends, there's nowhere else I'd rather be tonight. And I forget for a short while.
And that song was brought to you by Marianne McCullough, everyone! A round of applause!
I'm not clapping.
That was so good. You rock, Marianne.
Oh, please stop. You're just saying that.
They are.
You know neither of us can hold a tune, Marianne.
Well, yeah, not with a voice like that.
A toast to our shameless drunk singer. May your drinks forever flow and your notes be ever lovely.
Can you imagine her singing?
If anyone deserves a toast tonight, that's Cam. Finally sealed the deal after 3 years, eh?
Read 'em and wait, bitches.
Betches. Kamala's diamond engagement ring gleams as she holds it up for all the world to see. She has reasons to be proud. 3 years of living together, and her boyfriend finally asked her the big question. Obviously, she said yes.
Don't get too attached to that ring or the one after, sweetie. I was wearing a wedding ring not so long ago, and look at where I am. But enough of me being a downer. Cheers to a happy engagement!
Of course, if something like Haruna's divorce were to happen, I'd be there for Cam. Just as Cam had been there for me, actually more than just my yoga instructor. I can't be happier for my friend right now.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Well, we both will be there for Cam, won't we? Haruna and I? Haruna. It's been a real bad year for her ever since her divorce. She's such a nice person, even loaning me money to open a studio, and she didn't deserve what her husband had pulled. I'm happy she's smiling again and pigging out like she used to. I think we've all missed our Japanese firecracker. We met in yoga class, something I had joined to keep myself in shape and, well, honestly, so that I could make friends when I moved to Luxburn. Clearly, it worked like a charm, and definitely didn't have anything to do with the fact that I brought along my lucky D20 die with me on that first day. No, sir. I love these girls so much.
What about you, Marianne? You're 30 years old and you still haven't got yourself a man.
What are you, her mother?
And you guys know I have a very busy schedule. I don't have time for that.
Oh, come on. That's a lame excuse and you know it. You need a man who'll take care of you and you need it now. Maybe some hunk who'll be your house hubby while you rake in the dough.
Some hunk, huh?
I'm quite capable of taking care of myself. Who needs a Mr. Right?
Hey, look at me. I'm Marian McCullough, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma, but I can't get myself a date.
Oh, I see. They're making fun of the fact that she likes board games, even though D&D is not a board game, but, you know, tabletop. I mentioned druids and demons once. Once. They don't even know the rules or understand what the numbers mean. Of course they don't. They're not interested in anything complex. They're not interested in. They're interested in drinking, dancing, singing, and boys. And that's it. And I certainly am not some sort of holy person. I am a far cry from a miracle worker, and I barely have the willpower to fight off demons, especially my own.
Actually, maybe she isn't looking for a Mr. Right, but a Mrs. Right. Oh, my Marianne, we still love you even if you're in the closet.
That would explain some things. How do you know you don't have a ring anymore? Maybe you two can be together and I don't have to worry about my best girls being alone.
Ah ha ha. Oh, good old ribbing from your friends.
What are you on about? There's nothing to explain.
So she's a lesbian, okay. But the more I deny, the louder they tease until the other people in the pub start to watch. Doesn't help at all when Haruna drapes her arms around my shoulder and leans in.
Will I be all yours then? Will you be making me feel like a woman?
I know they're just kidding around, but this doesn't make me comfortable in the slightest. So when Kamala notices my silence and Haruna sees the expression on my face, they stop. And when the awkward air settles over us, the rest of the pub goes back to whatever they were doing before the whole thing ever happened. They probably won't ever even remember it when they wake up with massive hangovers anyway.
Sorry.
Drink a glass of water, you sloppy girls.
Me too.
Hey, no hard feelings, right?
I raise my glass. They smile. We drink. There's no need to say more. We're all definitely far too drunk tonight. Oh my god, we got so drunk. Eventually, the fun times end. It is a weekday after all. What day of the week is this? And with Haruna being a nurse, she still has to get ready for her next shift. She's a nurse, huh? Cam also has a loving fiance waiting for her at home and really didn't have to make a fuss about having left some buns in the oven when she took off early. Really, I understand. I was the one who insisted, who was determined to get pissed drunk anyway. Moving to the bar, I sit, alone at last. Who frickin' called this? Who called this? I called this in like chapter 1. They're gonna do it. Alone with a stranger. I haven't seen him here before. Obviously not a regular. He hasn't said word. And just sits there, savoring his drink. With his whiskey served neat in one hand and lighter in the other. It doesn't seem like he's noticed me yet. Maybe I should go before he does look my way. Hang on. Luke has a higher point, like, default than Hannah does. Because he was pretty and he was blonde, and those two things, plus alcohol, never did me any good. I thought too late. Judging by the way his flushed face and the dazed look in his eyes, he's as pissed drunk as I am. But whereas I feel like keeling over, he looks like he's still ready to take the catwalk by storm. Really, he just has the air of one of those men who think they own the world.
Hello there, sexy. Please don't stand up on my account. I already like what I see. Fancy a drink? It'll be on me.
Nope. But then again, I might be pleasantly surprised if he proves me wrong.
Want some between the sheets? Sex on the beach? I'm talking cocktails, of course.
Of course, right. Fat chance. But it doesn't matter. We both know how to play this game. And there are 2 different ways for the night to end. One thing or another is going to happen. The question is, what do I want to do?
Oh no, that's fine. I'd rather order some blue balls or some AMF if you don't mind.
He looks like he's about to say some witty retort, but stops himself and downs the rest of his whiskey. I order a mint julep. Of course you would. Of course you drink mint julep. He gets another whiskey, and we start the customary small talk. Of course, the saying, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies, goes without saying. We ask nothing about each other, offering up falsehoods to establish a strenuous, fake connection between 2 strangers at a pub, if only to pass the time. Whiskey, as I have come to call him, is supposedly 21 years old, single, takes care of his sick mother, and is a manager of some sort. Manager of what? I didn't care to listen to the details. Meanwhile, Mint, as he has come to call me, is 29, and I'm... What did I say I was again? Oh yes, I told him I was a professional chocolate taster. Because fuck it, if I'm going to lie about what my job is, might as well make it fun. It's a pretty decent chat between 2 drunk strangers. And maybe it's just me, but we might as fucking well expend the tiniest amount of effort in pretending there's something meaningful in this meeting. Would have been nice too if it was just left at that. But during a lull in the conversation, he brings it up.
You know, I've never been with a woman taller than me.
And to think he might have been different from the rest.
Never have and never will, whiskey. Can we go back to the history of chocolates? Did you know that chocolate candy was introduced in 19th century England as a healthier alternative to alcohol?
St. Lucy was the most beautiful woman of her time. She had men come from the 4 corners of the world just to see the pure light of her exquisite green eyes. If she were so lucky anyway.
No, enough of the history lesson. Come on, Mint. You know and I know what you came here for.
Though not every suitor was gallant, and she was no fool, she had known that sooner or later she wouldn't be able to defend her chastity. Wow, okay.
Come on. There must be something that gets you going.
Money. So she had taken out a knife and gouged out her own eyes. Okay, Marianne, you're a little weird.
There is something, but I don't think you can handle it.
Impressed with her devotion, God restored her eyes and made them more beautiful than before. He has a peculiar sense of humor, hasn't he? What? Because that only meant suitors kept going after Lucy, and she kept her eyes in a chalice to scare them away.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I can handle whatever it is.
St. Lucy, help me. Help me turn away from sin. Help me with my own blindness.
My place isn't too far from here. I won't take care of you if it ends up being too much for you.
Too much?
And no one will be able to hear you if you try to scream.
Marianne's into some kinky shit.
You sure you want to go down that road, pretty boy?
Oh, there's... Are you a sadist?
Wouldn't have it any other way.
She's a dominatrix. What, do I not have a choice in this? The best thing about having my condo so close to the pub is the ease of access. As long as I can still stand and walk, I can make it home. Maybe I need help from a kind neighbor or 2 to help me with the last leg if I've really gone overboard on the alcohol, okay? But I always made it home, sometimes with company. Of course, that always comes with complications, especially with the real clingy ones. But isn't anything a good tip about stalkers to the building security can't fix? I'm always nervous though, even if this isn't the first time I've done this. And the first few minutes when we enter my room are the first few agonizing minutes where I try not to panic. Okay, Max, so far so good. Don't let him smell your fear under all that liquid courage. He'll leave sooner or later, and I'll never have to see him again, just like every other man before him. I like to say to myself that the men I've brought to my place were more scared than I was. Yet there is no fear when I look into Whiskey's eyes, only delight. When he starts touching me, I don't even hesitate when I push him against the door. Roughness is to be expected. As long as he sticks to the script, everything will go smoothly. We'll have our little tumble in the sheets, he'll leave, we'll forget about it. If somebody asked what I really wanted, I would tell them that I wanted a bed of roses, chocolates, and music, maybe in an Irish castle. but all I really want is her, and that's never going to be a reality. That was my fault, of course, because I was afraid, because I was a coward. They would never hold a candle up to her. She was the light of my life. And I had to let her go. I can't even be bothered at the thought of her. Just the single thought of her makes my resolve to see this affair through waver.
Wait.
What is it now?
Yes, what is it now? What's it gonna be, Marianne? To sex or not to sex? What should we do? This is wrong. I think it'd be funny because I don't like Luke and I want to see him go home blue-balled. I think that'd be funny. Nothing, never mind, though. What are the pros of this one? We could see him do it? Well, let's see. This is wrong.
We're both drunk.
It went up with... It went up!
And...
This is wrong. Don't you think it's a bit fucked up that we're about to have sex and we're just calling each other by the drinks that we had? How messed up are we?
Doll, shut up with the ethics and morality talk. It is seriously putting me out of the mood.
If you want to leave now, Whiskey, I understand. I mean, with how smashed you are, it'd probably be best for you to sleep the night unless you want to be mugged. But I won't stop you. And this isn't going to happen.
Bloody hell.
I got an achievement. Cock blocked. Of course he's annoyed at me for putting off our night of sexual congress. But no means no. And beyond spewing a few profanities under his breath, he surprisingly simmers down soon enough. I was worried for a moment they might try to force something. Instead, he makes a show of fixing his suit and smoothing down his hair before making himself comfortable in the nearest seat he could find.
What are you doing then? You have a guest in your home. Put the damn kettle on. Dandelion tea if you have it. But I suppose all you have are those shitty tea bags from the store.
Wow. If it isn't for the absurdity of this turn of events, I would have flipped him off for thinking I have no taste. But in the end, I just laughed. All I got are cans of Korean ginseng and lemon balm, though. No dandelion. Without a second thought, I do wet the tea. That's 3 minutes to get the kettle to a boil. 3 minutes where we say nothing to each other. I mean, what do you even say to the guy I was going to sleep with until I changed my mind? I mean, I know that I said no just now, but inviting a dude to your place, and then you do like the foreplay, and then you say no. It's kind of rude, a little bit. It's not cause like, you know, you owe him sex, but it's like, it's an awful long way down the line to put your foot down. Should have just said no at the bar. Whatever. I doubt he's in the mood to talk about the influence of Troyes on Mallory. Troyes on Mallory. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't know what that is. Still unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed with mugs of tea in hand.
Just so you know, whatever is going on right now is a lot stranger and fucked up than the one night stand.
What do you mean?
We are two messed up individuals by your logic.
We're messed up.
Everything is messed up, if you ask me. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and loved lost. Oh, this whole world is a cesspool.
Oh, okay. We got a misanthrope over here. Charming. The dead air is telling when it fills the room once more. One would think that this is the perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issues that made us the fucked up person that we are today. And it is, but I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on someone else's shoulder. It wouldn't be fair to leave that to a person when I don't even know if we'll ever see each other again. Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on my bed, mugs left forgotten on the floor. So he's sleeping there with you in your bed. Odd. When I wake, whiskey is already gone. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table are the only evidence that I wasn't alone last night. Thanks for the tea, Marianne. See, I fucking told you guys in chapter 1 when he spelled her name correctly and Hannah didn't, and I was like, that means something. Fucking called it. Sorry, I'm proud of myself. I can't be too proud of myself though, because it's not it's not like a noteworthy twist or anything. I don't even question where these are from or just how he knew my real name. I'm just grateful for something to help with the hangover. Might as well. I have a job to do. Okay, there we go. It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job. But after meeting with the Wrights yesterday, it really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn whiskey was fucking damn Mr. Wright. And to top it all off, they had somehow forgotten to inform me that they didn't own the Ermengarde mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that?
Ugh, rich people.
I know. I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this, however. Twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It's not like I can accept other smaller projects. This is a big job and I should be ready to start on it at any time. Not to mention that my PA practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. It was a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm doing this for the Ermengarde mansion, not for anything or anyone else. I'd have a headache whatever I do anyway. I'd go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in bed with another potential client. And it might be a huge leap in logic, but a library is the next best thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books, for Dad. Plus, I also need to return the ones I borrowed last time. Finding a new book or two to read for myself while I have nothing to do isn't such a bad idea either. So on a Saturday morning, I find myself going to the only library in Luxburn to hopefully cool off. We're in the library. After returning an Ursula and a poetry book by Henry of Portbrady, I asked the librarian about the several titles on my list, though I don't have much luck on that front. So she clearly likes reading, so why wasn't that listed in her interests? Yeah. Apparently she likes anime and country music. I haven't seen any evidence of that. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said that she did not keep Our Mathematical Universe for someone who didn't return books on time. Wow. I make headway at least when I ask about Siege and Rendition of Havana by Jacobo de Pozuelo. If you count her snarling and pointing at the history section as headway, that is. The history section is devoid of any other except for myself and a redhead. One of those filthy redheads. Though I'd wager a guess that Red's just passing by to get to the classical literature section. Who do you think Redhead is? So many books, so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it.
Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama?
Talking to books, are we, Marianne? It's not the naval battle book I was looking for, no. It's even better. The newly acquired History of Luxburn Architecture. First edition, too. I know, I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on the book for so long. The fact that there's only one copy proves to be a problem, though, when Red reaches out for it at the same time I do.
I think I had this first, miss.
I can only stare her down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in the hopes that the fact that I was significantly taller than her would intimidate the girl. Even then, she refused with a rebellious look.
This isn't exactly light reading, miss.
Oh.
I mean, do you even know which architect was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture?
A beat. She blinks, and I can't help the smirk on my face, which is wiped off when she opens her mouth. Of course, she knows it.
Edward Lovett Pierce, who established the Palladian style through his work with Castletown House and the Irish Houses of Parliament.
You know, you can buy this book on Amazon, you cheapskates.
This bridge was destroyed in this year to delay French troops while under the regency of Mary of Guise.
This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? Aside from me, anyway.
Going right to the obscure ones, aren't you?
She's surprised.
Easy enough. Tullybody Old Bridge in Clackmannanshire, Scotland. On the January of 1560, if we want to be specific.
I got an achievement called Pop Quiz. Okay. Suddenly, it's a game where we throw these history questions and facts at each other, back and forth, in hushed tones, unless we want to be thrown out of the library. I'm curious. So we're We're right here, huh? So I guess that's just like a story achievement. Okay. Like you get it no matter what. After a while, it goes from some strange competition into this strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down when we're grinning at how odd this whole scene
Marianne
is.
McCulloch, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest.
Rebecca Gales, the Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns.
By then, we had forgotten about our little tug of war, although she still holds the book in her hands. I had let go of it without realizing when she answered my first question.
History teacher, then?
Got it in one.
No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'd blow you out of the water. You're from where? Luxburn Uni?
Oh no, just St. Goretti's.
Ah yes, St. Goretti. You'd think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after, especially when they have very young students.
And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject.
Interior designer, Miss Gales.
Please, just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you?
Are you?
Marianne, then.
I could have said that I was an architect, but there's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore.
So, I've never seen you before. I'd like to think I've met every history aficionado in town.
I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That, and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends.
That must be interesting work.
Must be, mustn't it?
It allows for some creative freedom, sure. But it's like working with children sometimes. Though you probably have it harder working with actual children. The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea.
That sounds exciting.
It is!
But isn't that true for any workplace, though? We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things. Any big projects right now? I can't imagine that interior designing is a frequent thing.
I'm working on the Ermengarde mansion. Lucky me. That mansion. Intach. Wonderful. Breathtaking. I can't wait to start in it. Now that is beautiful architecture.
A pause. It looks like she wants to say something at my mention of the house. I'm not surprised. That place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the next second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say. We know what she's about to say.
Do you have a portfolio or anything I can take a look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet? I've met some designers before, and they're always going crazy over these virtual room apps or another.
A tablet? Please. Callicrates didn't need those silly iTabs when he built the Parthenon. I certainly don't need one to design a house.
Okay, the history references are getting a little obnoxious. You're saying you don't need a tablet because somebody thousands of years ago did need it when he built the Parthenon. Are you going to be building the Parthenon, Marianne? No, you're not. Shut the fuck up and get a tablet. The computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy such an expensive gadget that will just get outdated within the year? When what I have is just as functional. I mean, I don't know. I have a tablet that I've had for over a year, and it's not outdated at all. The traditional ways had a far more personal touch, in my opinion. Not to mention, those smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. Do you not have a smartphone? I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside only to have their eyes glued to the things. And fuck touchscreens. They're evil things that make typing, which should have been a simple task, harder. I'm sorry, have you ever tried texting on a non-touchscreen phone? Because it takes more time, actually. Yeah, this is coming from someone who owned a BlackBerry, and before that, I owned a brick phone. Writing text on that brick phone was terrible. So what do you use?
I do have an online portfolio, if you'd like.
So if you don't have a smartphone with a touchscreen, what do you use? Do you use a BlackBerry? It's the only thing I can think of. Palm Pilot? Speaking or thinking of the devil seems to have summoned it, because before I can even carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes as she pulls out her mobile for what I can only assume is a call. Well, yeah, if she's holding up to her face, it is a call, I would assume. She gives me an apologetic look before she stands up and excuses herself. Off farther into the aisle she goes for some privacy. I do my best to give it to her as well, trying to tune her out.
Belle, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house? Sure, I can make it. I'm not too far. I can be there in 10.
But with how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of her conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has to be cut short.
Sorry, I have to go and meet with some friends.
The coffee shop with Zach.
It's fine. Totally fine. No need to even apologize.
About the book.
Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realizes she's still holding on to History of Luxburn Architecture. I don't give her time to think about it as I put up a hand and shake my head. Fishing out a pen and paper from my bag along with one of my business cards, I hand them over to her.
You know, I'm busy with work, so I might not even be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it, but you'll have to ring me up when you're returning it just so I can snag it right away. Deal?
She makes quick work, penning her number down and handing it back to me with a grin.
Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course.
Of course.
You have a good day then.
You too.
With Rebecca gone, I'm left standing alone in the history section. Although my original plans were simply to sit down and read a good book, our little pop quiz, if you could call it that, made the time pass by without any of us realizing it. It was fun, and I do believe I made a new friend. Good job, Marianne! Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. There are still other books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I work with the rights. Something like How to Deal with Arseholes Professionally 101, just in case. I dealt with a lot of uppity, snooty, and rich clients before, but it's better to be safe than sorry, because Luke Wright just takes the fucking cake, and he probably manages to eat it too. Seems the world is conspiring to keep me away from my me time as my mobile vibrates in my pockets the moment I find something from the shelves of the classic literature section.
Marianne McCulloch, Charlie Rose Design speaking.
Oh, so you do have a smartphone with a touch screen. Whatever. It's Rose.
Rose Cooper here, Miss McCullough. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything, but I just wanted to check in and tell you that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us that we should forward the floor plans to you.
Already? How'd they go through the process so fast? Surely there is so many red tape to even acquire the forms and the transferring of rights. No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right? You've said the word right a lot in the past few sentences.
So, if I can just have your email, I'll be sending them your way.
I don't give out my email to strangers, Rose.
I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans.
Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request.
Yes, please inform Miss Santos.
I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch if that's fine.
Not a problem. Right. Well, cheers.
Right. Cheers.
I don't know. I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met? These things take time. It's been, what, a day? Less than that, even. There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. It looks like I'm on the clock starting today. I might as well eat. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls, I find a table to spend time with a copy of Marquis de Sade's The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left with the book I wanted. I've read this one before, along with the rest of his works. This would be the 18th time, in fact. 18th time? But it's always nice to read through it again when I don't have the time to enjoy something new. What? If you have time to read a book for the 18th time, you have time to read a different book that you haven't read, right? I don't get it. Besides, when we're dealing with people so filthy rich that they just end up plain filthy, you need the good old Marquis' sound of advice.
La blessure se trouvant sans aucune sorte de conséquence.
Wow. The wound being without any consequence. The wound being? I don't know. Of course, it's folly to think that things have no consequence when everything actually does. Go away. Briar Realty Corporation's Luxburn branch isn't too far from the city center, just a few blocks away, and I can easily eat and walk. I'd rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there'll be so much to do once we get hands-on with the mansion.
Still a lot better than working on another condo, at least.
Surely, no matter how much BRC and the old owners put into the restoration and preservation of the place, any big repairs would be superficial at most. I'm quite certain that, in their haste to sell the property, they did a rush job. It isn't an infrequent thing to do, despite how it is frowned upon. There'll be a lot of hidden issues that I will need to weed out, and I have to make sure I find every single one of them, especially the more serious damages. Structural integrity is definitely on the top of the list we will have to consider. The building might look sturdy, but it is centuries old. That alone will likely pose a few problems here and there, put limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest these rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely. So as long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary, those two things always make sure the referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. That's nice. I lived a freelance life for a while, and you know, I had to be pretty proactive finding work. Oh boy. Ugh. Well, I know that we're ending a little bit early here, but I actually have to go do stuff, but I wanted to squeeze in an episode this afternoon. So yeah, we'll keep going with this in the next video, and we'll see you guys then. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video, leave a comment. All right, bye.